challenger is near! Are you prepared for your death? No matches!
Yes? Yes?
Word is spreading like mage fire. The great evil has been vanquished. You have truly saved us all.
Yes? Yes?
Come to gawk at the monster. Believe me, it wasn't anything I ever intended to do. I just lost control. I tried to tell them, but none of them believed me. It's all on account of this blasted ring. This is the Ring of Hersing. I was told it could let me control my transformations. Perhaps it used to, but I'll never know. Hersing didn't care for my taking it, and threw a curse on it. I put it on, and the changes just came to me. I could never guess when. It would be at the worst times. Like with the little girl. I don't suppose there's a point in keeping the secret if I'm going to die in here anyway. I'm sure you've heard of men who shift to beasts under the influence of the moons. I am one of them. A werewolf. It's my secret and my shame. That's why I wanted the ring. It was said to give men like me control. Now, I may look like a man, but I still feel the animal inside of me as strong as ever. I've been looking for a way to appease Hersing. There is a certain beast in these lands. Large, majestic. It's said that Hersing will commune with whoever slays it. I tracked it into these woods, but then I had my accident with the child. I want to beg his forgiveness. Give him back the ring. But while I'm stuck in here, the beast wanders free. Oh my. You would do this for me? Here, take it. I don't want anything to do with this wretched thing anymore. Seek out the beast. He wanders these woods. Bring him down and... well, the Lord of the Hunt should smile on you. I wish you luck. But you leave here while I still have my skin. Should our paths cross again, I will remember your kindness. Farewell.
Move!
Well met, Hunter. I am the spirit of the hunt. Just one glimpse of the glorious stalker that your kind calls Hircine. Your fealty is precious to me. I will make good use of it. You bear my ring. The one who stole it has fled to what he thinks is his sanctuary. Just as a bear climbs a tree to escape the hunt, but only ends up trapping himself. Seek out this rogue shifter. Tear the skin from his body and make it an offering to me. Fly, my hunter. There are others who vie for my favor. A bit of competition. Don't dally while the prey flees.
Has the Blood Moon called you, fellow hunter? The prey is strong, stronger than the hunters. But more will come. Bring him down for the glories of Lord Hircine.
You... Why? Never thought I'd see you again.
And I would deserve it, wouldn't I? I can't stop you if that's what you want to do. Hircine is too powerful. But if you spare me, I can be a powerful ally to you. And I would promise to never return to civilized life. I know now that I can't live among people. Thank the gods. Now let's deal with these other hunters. We hunt together.
Be brave. Look out!
Will feast on your heart!
Watch it! Never thought I'd see you again.
This one needs some. Show us the path to the prey. Show us the path to the prey.
Never thought I'd see you again.
Thank you for your help. I will make my home here, away from anyone I might hurt.
Well met again, Hunter. Not a failure, my servant. By bringing down my other hunters, you turn the chase inside out. And they were no base prey. You continue to amuse and impress. Go forth with my blessing.
The challenger is near! Are you prepared for your death? I honor my lord by destroying you! Well, weakness. I smell weakness.
So much easier to tell you. You start running. I can see you in the back there.
The challenger is near!
Time to die, hero.
Do your worst.
The challenger is near! Weakness. There could be no other end.
Rislav the Righteous. Heroic Tales of Rislav Leric, Ancient King of Skingrad. Like all true heroes, Rislav Leric had inauspicious beginnings. We are told by chroniclers that the springtide night in the 448th year of the First Era on which he was born was unseasonably cold, and that his mother, Queen Lineda, died very shortly after setting eyes upon her son. If he were much beloved of his father, King Morhaus of Skingrad, who already had plenty of heirs, 3 sons and 4 daughters before him, the chroniclers make no mention of it. His existence was so very undistinguished that we hear virtually nothing of him for the first 20 years of his life. His schooling, we can suppose, was similar to that of any spare prince in the Colovian West, with alien tutors to teach him the ways of hunting and battle. Etiquette, religious instruction, and even basic statecraft were seldom a part of the training of the prince of the Highlands, as it was in the more civilized valley of Nibelheim. There is a brief reference to him, together with his family, as a part of the rolls of honor during the coronation of the Emperor Gorius on the 23rd of Sun's Dawn, First Era, 461. The ceremony, of course, held during the time of the Elysian doctrines of Maruk, and so was without entertainment, but the 13-year-old Rislav was still witness to some of the greatest figures of legend. The Beast of Inequina, Darlock Bray, represented his kingdom, giving honor to the Empire. The chieftain of Skyrim, Kiorik the White, and his son Hoag were in attendance. And despite the Empire's intolerance of all elves, Chimere Indoril Nerevar and Dwemer Dumak Dwarf King were evidently there as well, diplomatically representing Resdain, all in relative peace. Also mentioned on the rolls was a young Mer in service to the Imperial Court of High Rock, who was to have a great history with Rislav, Riain Dyreni. Whether the 2 young men of about the same age met and conversed is entirely the stuff of historians' fancy. Riain is spoken of in praising words as a powerful landowner, eventually buying the island of Balfiria on Nialayak Bay, and gradually conquering all of High Rock and large parts of Hammerfell and Skyrim. But Rizlav is not heard of again in history's books for another 17 years. We can only offer supposition based on the facts that follow. Children of kings are, of course, married to the children of other kings to bind alliances. The kingdoms of Skingrad and Kvatch skirmished over common territory throughout the 5th century, until they reached a peace in the year 472. The details of this accord are not recorded, and since we know that Prince Rizlav was in the court of Kvatch 6 years later, as husband to Belaine, the daughter of King Justinius, it is fair to make an educated guess that they were married then to make peace. This brings us to the year 478, when a great plague swept through all of Cyrodiil and seemed particularly concentrated in the independent Colovian West. Among the victims were King Maurice and the rest of the entire royal family in Skingrad. Rizlav's only surviving elder brother, Dorald, survived, being in the imperial city as a priest of Maruk. He returned to his homeland to assume the throne. Of Dorald, we have some history. The king's second son, he was slightly simple-minded and evidently very pious. All the chroniclers spoke of his sweetness and decency, how he saw a vision in his early years that brought him, with his father's blessing, from Skingrad to the imperial city and the priesthood. The priesthood of Maruk, of course, saw no difference between spiritual and political matters. It was the religion of the Elysian Empire, and it taught that to resist the emperor was to resist the gods. Given that, it is scarcely a surprise what Dorald did when he became king of the independent kingdom of Skingrad. His first edict, on his very first day, was to cede the kingdom to the empire. The reaction throughout the Colovian estates was shock and outrage, nowhere more so than in the court of Kvatch. Rizlav Leric, as we are told, rode forth to his brother's kingdom, together with his wife and 24 of his father-in-law's cavalry. It was surely not an impressive army, no matter how the chroniclers embellish it, but they had little trouble defeating all the guards Dorald sent to stop them. In truth, there was no actual battling, for the soldiers of Skingrad resented their new king's decision to give up their autonomy. The brothers faced one another in the castle courtyard where they had grown up. In typical Colovian fashion, there was no trial, no accusations of treason, no jury, no judge, only an execution. "Thou art no brother of mine," Rizlav Leric said, and struck Dorald's head from his shoulders with one blow. He was crowned king of Skingrad, still holding the same bloody axe in his arms. If King Rizlav had no battle experience beforehand, that was shortly to change. Word spread quickly to the imperial city that Skingrad, once offered, was now being taken back. Gorius was an accomplished warrior even before taking the throne, and the 17 years he had as emperor were scarcely peaceful. Only 8 months before Dorald's assassination and Rizlav's ascendancy, Gorius and the Elysian army had faced another of his coronation guests, TonyTheWhite, on the fields of the frozen north. The High Chieftain of Skyrim lost his life in the Battle of Sungard. While the Pact of Chieftains was selecting a new leader, Cyrodiil was busily grabbing back the land of southern Skyrim that it had lost. In short, Emperor Gorius knew how to deal with rebellious vassals. The Elysian army poured westward like a flood of death, to borrow the chronicler's phrase, in numbers far exceeding what would be required to conquer Skingrad. Gorius could not have thought actual battle was likely. Rizlav, as we said, had little to no experience at warfare, and only a few days' practice at kingcraft. His kingdom, and all of the Colovian West, had just been ravaged by plague. The Elysians anticipated a mere show of arms and a surrender. Rizlav instead prepared for battle. He quickly inspected his troops and drew up plans. The chroniclers, who had heretofore ignored the life of Rizlav, now devote verse after verse describing the king's aspect with fetishistic delight. While it may lack literary merit and taste, we are at least given some details at last. Not surprisingly, the king wore the finest armor of his era, as the Colovian estates then had the finest leathersmiths, the only type of armor available in all of Tamriel. The king's Klebanian mail, boiled and waxed for hardness, and studded with inch-long spikes, was a rich chestnut red, and he wore it over his black tunic, but under his black cloak. The statue of Rizlav the Righteous, which now stands in Skingrad, is a romanticized version of the king, but not inaccurate except in the armor represented. No bard of the Colovian West would have gone to the markets so lightly protected, but it does, as we will see, include the most important accoutrements of Rizlav, his trained hawk and his fast horse. The winter rains had washed through the roads to the south, sending much of the west weald spilling into Valenwood. The emperor took the northern route, and King Rizlav, with a small patrol of guards, met him at a low pass on what is now the Gold Road. The emperor's army, it is said, was so large that the beast of Enequina could hear its march from hundreds of miles away, and despite himself, the chroniclers say, he quaked in fear. Rizlav, it was said, did not quake. With perfect politeness, he told the Emperor that his party was too large to be accommodated in the tiny kingdom of Skingrad. Next time, Rizlav said, write before you come. The Emperor was, like most Elysian emperors, not a man of great humor, and he thought Rizlav was touched by Sheogorath. He ordered his personal guards to arrest the poor madman, but at that moment, the king of Skingrad raised his arms and sent his hawk flying into the sky. It was a signal his army had been waiting for. The Elysians were all within the pass and the range of their arrows. King Rizlav and his guard began riding westward, as fast as if they had been kissed by wild Kynareth, as the chronicler said. He did not dare to look behind him, but his plan went faultlessly. The far eastern end of the pass was sealed by rolling boulders, giving the Elysian no direction to go but westward. The Skingrad archers rained arrows down upon the Imperial army from far above on the plateaus, remaining safe from reprisal. The furious Emperor Gorius chased Rizlav from the Weald to the highlands, leaving Skingrad far behind, all the while his army growing steadily smaller and smaller. In the ancient highland forest, the Imperial army met the army of Rizlav's father-in-law, the king of Kvatch. The Elysian army likely still outnumbered their opponents, but they were exhausted, and their morale had been obliterated by the chase amid a sea of arrows. After an hour's battle, they retreated north into what is now the Imperial Reserve, and from there, further north and east, to slip back to nurse their wounds and pride in Nibene. It was the beginning of the end of the Elysian hegemony. The kings of the Colovian West joined with Kvatch and Skingrad to resist Imperial incursions. The clan Dyreni, under Riain, was inspired to outlaw the religion of the Elysian reform throughout his lands in High Rock, and began pushing into Imperial territories. The new High Chief of Skyrim, Hoag, now called Hoag Murkiller, though sharing the Emperor's official xenophobia, also joined the resistance. His heir, King Izmir Wolfheart of Atmora, helped continue the struggle upon Hoag's death in battle, and also ensured his place in history. The heroic king of Skingrad, who faced the Emperor's army virtually alone and triggered its end, justly deserves his sobriquet of Rizlav the Righteous.